The Love Song of J. Alfred Prufrock by T.S. Eliot. His name is synonymous with modern American poetry. He's considered pretty indispensable, along with Ezra Pound, even in terms of world poetry. His poetic voice is highly ironic and elusive. Elusive meaning it refers to the noun allusion, and that is when you refer to texts or works of the past, either in style or in reference to the material in your own work. And thus he created a combination of human sympathy and ironic wit. He towed the line that way. However, even though he used the window dressing of a romantic style and tone, much like Frost, even though his style is clearly not like Frost, very different men in terms of style, he was not a romantic. He used that, again, so-called machinery very ironically and even sarcastically in his poems. His focus was on the text as a carefully made object, almost a scientific attitude to creating a literary work, which is in line with a theoretical school that he was a big part of called New Criticism in the 20th century, early 20th century. And his origins are very traditional, highly influenced by poets as traditional as Dante, John Donne, and the French symbolists, and again highly elusive, referring to other works within his own. And when it came to his own use of allusions, his elusiveness, he not only used it, he consciously thought about it and wrote about it in his own critical prose essays. His best known and most influential is Tradition and the Individual Talent, and here's some appropriate quotes from that. The existing order is complete before the new work arrives. For order to persist after the supervention of novelty, the whole existing order must be, if ever so slightly, altered. And so the relations, proportions, values of each work of art toward the whole are readjusted. And this is conformity between the old and the new. So his attitude towards what was made new in the modernist sense was not what you might think. He was no iconoclast. He didn't want to destroy everything old and make radically new things. No, he saw the new as an unavoidable condition of maintaining the old, because without change and evolution, the old would simply die. It would simply cease to exist. So he saw art in that way as one big continuum that required that kind of innovation in order to justify and perpetuate art in total, which of course includes the old and the seminal. On a similar note, the poet must be very conscious of the main current, which does not at all flow invariably through the most distinguished reputations. He viewed poetry writing as something very selfless. The poet was just this empty vessel for this continuum. He must be quite aware of the obvious fact that art never improves, but that the material of art is never quite the same. Hence his attitude towards allusiveness. It's just using the same old stuff in different ways. What is to be insisted upon is that the poet must develop or procure the consciousness of the past, and that he should continue to develop this consciousness throughout his career. What happens is a continual surrender of himself, as he is at the moments, to something which is more valuable. The progress of the artist is a continual self-sacrifice, a continual extinction of personality. Again, a very selfless approach to the poetic voice and poetic creation. A few other bits from Tradition and the Individual Talent on elusiveness. The poet should act as a medium, again, as a vessel, an empty vessel, and like a catalyst to continue the tradition through innovation. The business of the poet is not to find new emotion, but to use the ordinary ones and in working them up into poetry to express feelings which are not in actual emotions at all. In the poetry itself is where the innovation lies. The art, the shaping, the subject matter then almost does not matter, because according to Eliot, every possible emotion that you could convey artistically has already been done. Poetry is not a turning loose of emotion, but an escape from emotion through the art, the craft of it. It is not the expression of personality, but an escape from personality. Now, the love song of J. Alfred Prufrock in particular. Ezra Pound and T.S. Eliot are often cited as the two most important contributors to modern American poetry. Eliot especially demonstrates how sophisticated and multi-layered a metaphor can become in one of his best-known works, The Love Song of J. Alfred Prufrock. It's a poem in which one can find many things, including modernity and modern life, romantic disillusionment, mock heroism and self-loathing, a metafictional aspect of poetry itself. And all of this has made the title character, J. Alfred Prufrock, who is also the speaker in the poem, one who is often cited as a literary example of the prototypical modern man. I look forward to your comments.